The river was clear and smoothly fast in the early morning. Nick was excited. He was excited by the early morning in the river. Nick wanted to catch grasshoppers for bait before the sun dried the grass. Nick picked them up, taking only the medium-sized brown ones and put them into a bottle. Nick took his fly rod out of the leather rod case, jointed it, and shoved the rod case back into the tent. He put on the reel and threaded the line through the guides. He fastened a hook on the end of the leader. It was a small hook, very thin and springy. He was careful not to let the hook bite into his finger. He stepped into the stream. It was a shock. The water was a rising cold shock. Holding the rod in his right hand, he let out the line against the pull of the grasshopper in the current. There was a tug on the line. Nick knew it was a small one. He saw the trout in the water, jerking with his head and body against the shifting tangent of the line in the stream. He held the trout, never still, with his moist right hand, while he unhooked the barb from his mouth, then dropped him back into the stream. Nick did not like to fish with other men on the river, unless they were of your party. They spoiled it. He was certain he would catch small trout in the shallows, but he did not want them. There would be no big trout in the shallows this time of day. Now the water deepened up to his thighs, sharply and coldly. The trees of the left bank made short shadows on the current in the forenoon sun. Nick knew there were trout in each shadow. In the afternoon, after the sun had crossed toward the hills, the trout would be in the cool shadows on the other side of the stream. The very biggest ones would lie close to the bank. Of course you could fish upstream, but in a stream like the Black, or this, you had to wallow against the current in a deep place. The water piled up on you. It was no fun to fish upstream with this much current. A beech tree grew close behind the river, so the branches hung down in the water. The stream went back in under the leaves. There were always trout in a place like that. Nick did not care about fishing in that hole. He was sure he would get hooked in the branches. They looked deep enough, though. Ahead the river narrowed and went into a swamp. The river became smooth and deep, and the swamp looked solid, with cedar trees, the trunks close together, their branches solid. It would not be possible to walk through a swamp like that. The branches grew so low. You would have to keep almost level with the ground to move at all. You could not crash through the branches. He did not feel like going in that swamp. Nick did not want to go in there now. He felt a reaction against a deep wading, with the water deepening up under his armpits to hook big trout in places impossible to land them. The sun did not come through, except in patches. In the fast, deep water, in the half-light, the fishing would be tragic. Nick did not want it. He did not want to go down the stream any further today. He climbed the bank and cut up into the woods, toward the high ground. He was going back to camp. He looked back. There were plenty of days coming when he could fish the swamp.